What's going on, everybody? We're live for Friday night. More work on my class one for tonight. Little bit of a repeat from prior weeks, but it's because I have to get some things that are pretty similar still done. We got, what did we do last time? Did we do the, I think we did the fender on the carbon. No, we did the rear cab corner. So I've got the other one of those to load tonight. I think we demolded this one and then wet sanded. Tonight we're going to load the mold for one of these, but we're also going to take one out of the mold tonight. This is the roll pan, the rear section. So that is the plan. So we'll have the other one of these loaded, the roll pan loaded. That will be the entire rear section of the truck. And that will only leave the hood left to be done, which no Nicole tonight. She is not in tonight. But the hood, I've changed plans a little bit. Still carbon, and still forged carbon, but different. We'll get to it. Also, though, we have got the dash, and this is what I want to get to first. When do you get the orange chop? I don't know. It has shipped, and that's all I know. I haven't checked tracking, but this is the dash for this truck. I haven't seen it. I sent the model that I modified to Westmade. Westmade Builds is... You may have seen him. If not, check out his Instagram or YouTube page. But he had done a very stock-ish style Commando, which was how this thing, is kind of loosely based. And he's like, hey, I did a dash for it. And he sent me that, and I took that, and then I modified it a bunch to make it work with my model. And then I sent it back to him, and then he did whatever's in here. And that I have not seen yet. How did Matt see the dash first? Westmade, I believe, sent him photos. Because Wes is a big friend of the Scale Builders Forum. He's got lots of detailed builds on there and such as well. So that's just, we're a community of friends. Where's Nicole? How am I going to? Blind Guy RC, thank you, sir. Can hear the stress in your voice. That is true. Oh, here's a note on top. It says, Josh, you do not need to use the steering wheel. I just couldn't resist sending it, Wes. Nice little note that he sent me. Just couldn't resist sending it. We'll see what that means. I see orange in here already. So let's maybe, it'll be fine without it. Let's use the top one. I can't. Okay, let's pull this out. Very well packaged. Okay. Oh, it's zip tied on the side. That'll help. Let's see. Dang, he made a whole steering column. Oh, hold on. Look at that thing. It's got that's a little blown up. It's got an indicator stalk on it. And there's some we'll get into these things here in a minute. There's too much detail here. I'm gonna fire up the overhead camera real quick, which I forgot to do beforehand. I usually do it just in case. Okay. There we go. Come on. All through the menus. Okay. Now, see if it worked. It worked. Yay. Okay. So all kinds of detail on that thing. And then there's a little baggie of parts here. So we'll open these. he made a couple little Harley stickers. You got a super tiny little Westmade emblem on that we'll have to get on there. A Westmade token, handcrafted Westmade builds. Man, he's got even got the crown on that one. You see it? Rad. Okay, so let's get all those put here. I know that Wes sent me instructions in a text about opening and things like that, and I should probably go back to there, but we're gonna get that off there in a second. Okay. There's zip ties on the side here, like I was saying. Well, with those, he did such a good job package. Oh, I think that I saw that the steering wheel, I think, broke. You see it up there? I think that must have broke in shipping because it was stuck to the glue. Oh, that's exactly it. I see where that was on the column before. That's okay. It was like that. That's what he's talking about. So not just the steering wheel he made, but the column and everything. We'll see if it. I don't know how much length I have. I may have to cut it down, but okay. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Oh, that looks great. He did such a good job. The chrome detail. Oh, that's an ignition key right there. Even looks like it from the side. It's got tons of little detail. Little door. So this came right before I left. Our mail was super late today. White detailed knob. I'm just amazed at how many colors he used to detail it. I'm like, I don't have this many paint colors in total. Look over here, the little switches, how it's got the little chrome detail on them. To like indicate up and down positions. Oh, that looks so good. Install it. Oh, definitely. So first of all, I think we should compare at Josh detail level. I would have ran this too. Like you all know that this would have been something I would have ran. Yes. Yeah. See, this is when you just have to know. There is a time to outsource some units, and this was it. That came out fantastic. So, I'd say that we do install this right away, though. So I've got this tape here, Killer Red. And this stuff is what I used to attach the windshield frame on this Class 1. And I can pick up the entire truck by the windshield. This stuff is just wild good. So it's also like, it's called Wild Red, but it's clear and it's super thin. If If you can see the thickness of that, it's almost nothing, and that's with a peel ply on there. So we're gonna pull off a length of it, cut it. I think I'm in need of a new pair of cutters. Servo tape? No, this is way better. It's servo. I've dealt with the servo tape that looks just like this. I think I have a roll in the box here, but this stuff is like, I don't know, a quarter of the thickness. So let me see. I thought I had some of that stuff. I definitely do somewhere, but this stuff is awesome. That's forever tape. This is. How hard is it to unstick? Pretty difficult, which is fine. I want this to not fall off, especially during. I'm going to travel with it. It's going to, So once it's on there, I mean, it's you can barely tell. Move this stuff out of the way. I can probably go back to the regular. Doesn't not going to help you much to see top down now. So now weigh the dash first. No, it's heavier. I can tell that, and that's all I need to know. I'm well aware that it's heavier. Trust me, but I also definitely don't care because it looks so good. Okay. I'm curious the weight between FDM and resin. It's a lot. I bet it's three. I bet it's 4 times heavier. Honestly, it feels. It's definitely heavier. I'm adding mass, but it looks so good in there. Look at that thing now. That is a proper dash, and it's the orange is so good. It was such a perfect addition. But let's see what we have room for with this steering column. Are you going to sell this truck in the future? Most likely. Most likely, yes. But once it's after I've done documenting the work and all that, I'm usually okay. He's got it screwed to this thing with a couple layers of tape over it. Let's see if we can get it off. You appear chuffed. That's a, yeah, you know what? Proper term. I think chuffed is for use with scale things. Let's add a tiny bit of glue to this for now. Just to see what we can. Okay. Come on. Very light. Right. Trying to get the very fine spokes of this wheel lined up. Come on. I don't have any kicker in here right now to get this thing to dry. No, Nicole, looks like one hell of a day for quitting coffee. I get that reference, Moose Jaw. Picked a hell of a day to stop sniffing glue. Should be using the glue that dries perfectly clear. Yeah, I just don't know if it would hold fast enough. Damn it. Also, this is already painted. I also don't know if I can literally fit this between the seats and the dash. I think this is probably a more true to scale proportion wise steering wheel, and I don't believe that I've got the room for it technically. Does that cage have enough tubes to get rear passenger points? It's got down bars and cross bars in front of each row, front and behind of each row. Should. That's all the rules state. So. Right. Not wanting to stick. Damn it. Well, this may have to be for a later time. I have to cut this thing down significantly if I can get the steering column to work, but I can't actually fit the size of this dash. Yeah, I don't have any accelerator in here right now. So even if I cut this down, this won't fit right now, but that's okay. It's still really cool. It's a bummer that it broke. Even the little chrome cap on the end looks so good. Okay, we're gonna put this back for now. Where did I get that tape from? I got this from a friend of mine. He uses it at the, he runs an audio shop, Gately Audio, and he uses this to hold down material on the CNC at times, depending on what it is. If it's a, you know, some stuff that needs some special holding, like that the vacuum table just won't do, or if it's real fine stuff. Oh, it does say that you can get it from Bron Tapes, BRON tapes.com. 1-888-877-2766. Gunnar Nissen, thank you, sir. Tonight's code, chuffed. Perfect. Carpet tape is what we call it for the car audio days. Well, that's where it came from, is car audio. So, yes. Anyway, I know I'm missing a lot of comments. I apologize for that today, but I'll only be able to catch so many as I try. And, oh, there we go. Thank you, Dana. I'm going to pin that comment. There is your satisfiedjerky.com. You can go and get 10% off with the code #chuffed. You have to use the hashtag and chuffed all in one. Brought to you by Satisfied Jerky. Which, oh, I do have the rear seat in just temporarily. It's sitting there. It is very thin. It is single layer extrusion the whole way. So, I mean, it weighs, well, I got a new scale today because I needed a scale. I was doing the roll pan mold, which is back here, and it uses, so it was like 6 grams is what the roll pan was going to be. So I needed like 2.4 grams of hardener and, you know, 6 grams of resin. But like at that level, my other scale is just 1 gram increments, and it just wasn't fine enough. So I ended up buying a new scale, and it got delivered today. But this seat is 8 grams. Almost nothing. You mean the pound sign? Right. So anyway, we'll get that in there. Is that 1/2 inch tape? Looks more like 1/4 inch to me. New nose candy scale. Yeah. That was like when Nicole and I used to sell This is like 3/8 tape, technically. So when Nicole and I used to sell hardware, we had very nice scales and we bought tons and tons of little baggies, and our suggested Amazon purchases were wild. So zero that out. Well, I guess this can act as a tray in case you have something that would be, loose, but otherwise it's just a cover. So, all right. So, thank you to Westmade again. Josh, considering starting a YouTube RC channel, any suggestions? Make videos. Just keep making videos until you can't stand it anymore. It takes a long time of making videos for very few people and very little interaction, but it just keeps building. I've had this YouTube channel for over 10 years. Or maybe I've been doing YouTube for over 10 years. Maybe this YouTube channel started a little later because I started a new one to brand it all the same because it was named something stupid before. So I made a new one, branded it, but I stopped my other one at like around 1,000 subscribers, and started over, and it was worth it. I'm glad I did at the time. So, all right, we have a lot of work to do still. Like that was satisfying to open that and put the dash in, but that was like the easiest part of it, and now everything else gets hard again. So the other thing is that I want to demold that mold, but I have to load the other one first so that I can put it into there. Now, here is the next round of hurdles. I have to assemble the next mold first. I'm using a new mold release because I basically ran out of my current one, and I can't find another like close to identical match for the RW4 high build release wax in an aerosol form. I've got a number of products that are mold release sprays, but all of them are ultra thin, low, no buildup, or just, and it's super tough. This one that I'm using today is by Smooth On, and it's not the same, that's for sure. But we're gonna test it. This could be an absolute failure. I don't know. So I've got to assemble the mold. My hands are, it's just so slick. This stuff is not waxy. It's like silicone-like. So, go to get coffee, and the first thing I see is Colombian Bam Bam when I get this first. God. So I bolt the parts of the mold together. This goes here and there and there. I've got lots of hardware that I used from the last time here, which is helpful. Do you have to have an aerosol mold release? I don't have to. I can use like a carnauba, like a rub-on, which I'll use if I have to. But these molds are super intricate. So I would much rather not use that just because it's way harder to get those evenly inside of areas. It's just definitely not going to be as good. So I've looked at lots and lots of options. Would Pledge furniture polish work? So I've used Pledge a little bit. I use it more on the vacuum former for mold release than anything. And that's kind of the bummer. Just use car wax. Like I was saying, it's way harder to get it into the areas of these molds that are so fine and detailed, tight corners, little pockets. It's just not a great substitute. So that's why I really need to try and find an actual substitute that is the same. Trust me, I've spent hours researching this to not have to import this mold release from the UK at a super wild shipping rate. Like these cans are going to cost me $50 a can for mold release. So, or more. Motor oil. No. We're using PL. This is also, we're using some PLA molds. I need it to stay in place on things. Silicone spray. No, I want high build. Like very specific, guys. Not just a car wax, not just a regular spray, not a rub on. Like, it needs to be an aerosol, high build. Like, but we're going to use this one and we're going to see how it works. The nice thing about the high builds is what it does to the, for the 3D printed molds, especially. And there's a reason why they were so particular on pointing out which one to use. Pain wax. Again, isn't that a wipe on? Let's see. All right. Mold snob. Yeah. Like, if I have to, if I can't find one that is the same, then I'm going to end up paying $50 a can for this aerosol because I want it to be. That's the thing. It's like you got to wait 24 hours after you put this stuff together. It's like I want it to be right. It's wasted time and wasted materials to not have the right stuff. Check out Stoner. I did check out Stoner, but I didn't see them have a high build wax. Smooth On and Stoner both have a ton of different ones, but I just couldn't. Chain wax is an aerosol. Okay. I wonder how that would be. Deodorant, no. Right. 24 hours just for a set, including print time for the molds. Yeah, exactly. It's like there's so much potential for wasted time if you do it wrong. And at the point of this build that I'm at, like I would rather spend $50 per piece that I'm making rather than wreck, you know, wreck what I'm trying to get done. So my hands are so freaking slick right now. Those velocity addiction. Thank you, sir. Could you mold the hub into the steering wheel and screw it to the column? I mean, I can definitely make something that's going to work. I didn't have any plans for that steering column at first. Wes just did it. Maybe test a graphite spray lube in the future. Too thin. I want a high build. Another $50 when you're 10,000 into a project. I think I'm probably closer to like, I don't want to say. I'm still not saying a number. There's a thick acrylic wax we use at our thermal stencils at work. I do not know the name of it offhand. I'll try to get it to you later. Oh, that's interesting. I'll check out that chain wax. See that too. That could be interesting. So, like Toad Daddy was saying. Right. Can't say any numbers in front of a camera. She might find out. Yeah. I mean, it's been a roller coaster build. That's for sure. Right. So closer to 20, 20,000. Say the no. What's in the box? Is this class one more expensive than Nicole's Jeep? I mean, I bought that Jeep new. So no. Okay. Need to throw a couple of pieces of hardware in. So I printed this mold and I forgot to mirror most of the parts except that piece and this piece. So that, oh, I need flatheads because that's my pressure surface. So they need to be flush. Hey, Wes made it. Wes, we started this live video off with a unboxing of your awesome dash. And we installed it. It was the very first thing we got done, and it is amazing. So stoked. It looks so good. Unfortunately, the steering column did come broken in shipping, but at the same time, the steering wheel is a little bit too large to fit between the dash and the seat anyway. But I did get your note about it, so it looked fantastic, but it wasn't technically going to fit. So we still got to appreciate it, but all right. So mold is assembled and lubed up. Was watching St. Peter's beat Purdue. East Coast life. Okay. So that's just the assembly of the mold. We bolted the two sides together and we bolted the one side halves together. And that is, that's ready for that. This piece here is, it's clear PETG, so it blows out, but in the light. Now, the only other issue is that I had a layer shift in the middle of this print, which I've never had before in my Prusa. But it's still, I believe, it's gonna, we're gonna be able to force it. I'm positive. We're good and lubed up. We're just gonna jam it in there. Oh, hate this feeling. Okay. We now have math to do. Welcome, everybody, to Josh's math class. We got into this a little bit last time. What I should have done is save my numbers from the last time I did this, but I didn't. Hey, Josh, is the mold release you're using now PVA? The one that I want to be using, I do not believe is PVA. I don't know what the hell it is, really. It's got a bunch of things. It's got hydrocarbons, C7, N-alkanes, not alkalines, it's just alkanes, ALKANES. It's got all kinds of crap in it. I had no idea. I posted a picture of the back of this label on my Facebook and Instagram yesterday. So Yeah. It's called Zencast, Xen Cast, RW4, High Build Release Wax. But I think it's a private label through the place that I buy it in or from. So yeah, Dana says send me a couple pics, see what I can find. Will do. So, where's my pen? Pen. So, this is going to be for rear cab corner. Put some of this stuff to the side. All right, I've got to open Fusion 360 for a second. I guess I could go to and go to that. So here is Fusion. What I'm looking at. Oh, I've got it currently in a slightly different view than you normally see, but good enough for these. Oh, that cancel. So right now I've got roll pan isolated, unisolate. There's my mold design. There's the other part, which that's the one that, so I'm just going to right click properties. It gives me this over here. So my volume is 12.282 cubic centimeters, which that's really all. 282. That's weird that it's all blown out. So 12.282 centimeters cubed. So I need to do more math. 12.282 times 0.6 equals 7.3692. So that's how much carbon I need. 60. So what you're looking for is that 12.282 is the, oh, oops, I actually messed up. That's not correct. Well, I can do it this way. That's not of carbon though. I have 7.362 cubic centimeters of carbon, and that should be 7.3692 times the density, which is 1.4 grams per cubic centimeter. 1.4. So that equals 10.32 grams. So that's how much carbon I need. Why are you reversed? I don't know. I don't know why I have that reversed. I shouldn't be, but I am. So I might have hit some sort of hotkey. It's hard to say. And get that so I can actually see comments going. So that's how much carbon I need. Now, normally you go for a 60-40 split of carbon to resin, but what we're going to do is make 10.32 grams of carbon. And then instead of making exactly how much resin we need, we actually make 10.32 times 1.25. So that gives us quite a bit of extra resin. And then that's what squeezes out through the molds. So 10.32 times 1.25. So we're going to make 12.9 total grams of resin. But this resin is a let's see, a 100 to 30 mix. So if you take 100 over 130 times 12.9, oops, 100 over 130 is 0.76 times 12.9. We get 9.92 grams of the resin, and then minus 12.9 equals, I need 2.98 grams of hardener. There we go. Can we round up for ease? We could have, but I was already there. So I need these, and I need that. That is, this isn't where I park my car. Okay. Now that the fun part's over, we have to do the rest of the work. So, and that's all there is to doing this forged carbon stuff. Little bit of math, not too bad. I should have made a spreadsheet for this so I could just pop in a few numbers and it just output it. It probably would have taken me less time than doing the math the first time myself, and then I could just plug the stuff in and be done. So I didn't really think about it until just now because I just do the math and I move on. But this is way different than how I mix things. I just add a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Ah! That is terrifying. So we've got our carbon. Carbon fiber. Carbons fiber. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our new fancy scale on. We're going to put the my little catchment bin on here. Make sure that it's tared to 0, which it was. And we need 10.32 grams. Weed scale. This scale is so much nicer than my last one. Nice having that 0.1 accuracy. This will be a big improvement. Up. There's going to be a little bit of that gets pushed out of areas of the mold, especially around my tail lights, which I forgot to we're going to add just a little bit extra. 0.7 grams. So okay. Let's do not sneeze. Okay, so we've got our carbon. So you can see about how much carbon that is. It's not that much. But, oh, I need to grab a mixing thing. Hold up. Okay. So now tear that. Now I need 9.9 grams of my base resin, I guess. I don't know what you're really supposed to call this. I think this is the resin, and yeah, it's just resin and hardener. So that's about what I've been calling it. Where's the orange? The orange is going to go on the hood. The orange is still not here, and this is a rear section. So I'm not crazy worried yet, but okay, we're after 9.92 grams. So we're just going to go for 10, obviously. Knowing that we're going to be squeezing a lot of the 10 exactly. Look at that pour. I should have definitely not been a bartender. Okay. So, well, and now I could either tear this and then do 3 grams, or I can just do the 12.9 total, which we'll just tear and go to the 3 grams of the hardener. Oh, wait. Before I do that, do I have a stir stick? I definitely need that. use the pen. This is a really nice pen. It's a Ridge pen, brought to you by Ridge. It's the bolt action style. Yes. It's a fidget toy too. Does this stuff off gas? No, there's like no smell to this stuff. Like not like normal epoxies at all. Similar process with Cerakote. Really? I didn't know that at all. Okay, so we're going for 3 grams. Boom. 3 grams on the dot. What other EDC stuff you into besides pens and wallets? Mainly pocket knives. I carry too much stuff in my pocket is the problem. Deep pour epoxy used table, also gas, 0 off gas. Yeah, that which is the epoxy table stuff I always think is so cool. Be interested in seeing what you've done there. I've always seen those are the videos that I get sucked into watching is the epoxy tables. What's your favorite knife? I spent like 10K on knives in 2020. Oh my God. I don't carry very expensive knives. I really like CRKTs. I just really like, that's what I carry every day. I beat my knives up so bad. But I carry CRKTs and I really like the double lock that they have. And I just, the one I carry right now, I think is like a $50 or $60 double lock CRKT. So, I like Tonto blades with the serrated, and then the double lock is here. So you've got one pull there and one here, the slide over to make it full. Usually I just push against, but whatever. But I absolutely abuse my knives. So they're my favorite. I need to get to loading this freaking mold though. Also agrees CRKT is great if you lose it, whatever. Exactly. And let me tell you, I have donated so many pocket knives to the TSA because I carry a pocket knife all the time. And when I'm going to the airport, I forget that it's a thing and I freaking like, well, guess someone there gets it. Is that used for cardboard? Absolutely. All right. So now it's time to shoot. I have one glove. That's not good. Ruh-roh. Oh yeah, there we go. I have 2 more. Now that I have my pocket knife out. I don't normally take my pocket knife out during live streams just because I don't know, first shot. Benchmade is the best. I do like the Benchmades. Honestly, they're a little bit, like I said, I carry way too much stuff in my pocket. So the Benchmades seem a little bit fatter. So I like how compact the CRKTs are. That's my, and I've called them Cricket, Circuit, whatever. I guess I just say CRKT now. I don't know what the proper way is or not, but that's what I say. I didn't super glue my brush or cut it down this time, but these brushes are a little bit wider than what I have been using, so I've been cutting off about half the bristles, the width, and but it's whatever. So I'm just putting in the first layer of resin. Kind of helps things stick. It helps give you a better surface finish. Oh, I can tell that it's reacting different to this resin. I'll tell you that on the mold release. We'll see. Tell you I don't like it already. I hope this molding is not a massive failure because of my change of mold release waxes. I waited plenty of time after applying, more than ample time compared to the directions. So my ability to read the chat during this portion of the show will be limited. But, okay. So we've loaded in some of the resin. Now we just take and we start filling this thing with carbon. And I just take it and start pushing it in and down and into as many of the areas as I can. I'll use the paintbrush as well, but I've got a couple of like undercut areas here that I want to try and push it into that I didn't get it in as well on the first one. Try and learn from some of the mistakes that I made. Now, there was also another issue on the last mold that I don't know that is going to change, but I'm going to modify after the fact anyway, so I'm not worried about how it comes out this time. And we just keep putting the carbon in, adding more resin on top of it, stippling it down into the mold, getting it wetted out. Oh. Can definitely see some of the resin coming out of the bottom side of this because that mold release is not holding or is not bridging between the parts as much, and this is a very viscous resin. The more I think about it, you should do molded carbon seats. Let me tell you, that is absolutely not going to happen. Not for this one. Right. Again, pushing that in there. I feel like we're short on resin, but it kind of always feels like that. They say you can mix more and add more because it all just gets pushed out, but I am concerned that with the mold release being thinner, that it pushed down and went into the cavity on the back side of that plug already. Is it just me, or does this seem like way more effort than it's worth? That, you know what? It's up to, depends, you know. Some people make handmade bodies out of scratch built styrene. It depends on what your level of desire for custom is and what you really want for strength. You know, it's like, if you think this is a lot of work, you should just see what it takes to get to this point. Designing molds, 3D printing molds, designing the body the first time. Like, just this part of it is the absolute least effort of any of it. I mean, this is going to take us, what, we're only an hour into this stream already. I unboxed that part from Wes made at the beginning. Like, the back end of this thing is tens of hours. Like, there could be more than If you took it all and really divided it all out, I'm not kidding. There could be over 20 hours in this little corner of this body without exaggeration. I think I could, if I said that, I could say that with a clear conscience, saying that there's probably at least 20 hours in this. But it's just my desire to want to learn how to do these things. Built like not many other people will have a hand formed class 1 carbon fiber body. Okay, now the other thing is that I think I did this last time. I do have the center tail light area in the middle here. And what I'd like to do is pull some material off from on top of it to get it around the rest. Try and get the material all where it should be the most. Not many or no one else. You know, it's hard to say. I don't know what everyone else is trying to do this year. But I mean, I'm not saying that 98% of people would not agree that this is way more effort than it's worth. Okay. So, oh, I know what I need to do also. I need to force some material into that stepped area, which is, I think, right there. Just trying to make sure that I'm doing this. Yeah, so it is on that side, and that is where I'm trying to make sure that I pack carbon into. Because it didn't make it in there last time, and hopefully we can rectify that this time. All right. That doesn't look like the hood. That is definitely true. Trust me, I'm as nervous about that part as anybody. Okay. Most people think painting bodies is too much work. Ooh, that is also me. Okay. All right. So this thing is ready to press. So we've got the plunger portion, as I call it. We're going to get that aligned properly, the correct direction. And start pressing it in. So it only goes to about right there. And then from there, the vise is going to do all the work. So switching over to that, my audio is probably going to get a little bit distant while I work on this part of it. Freezer paper is just to catch the excess resin that comes out. But we're going to take we have the roll pan in the mold right now, so I'm taking that out. I'll put that over here. Then we're going to load this one in, and I'm going to press it. So that one's out. We're going to need some. Almost. Okay. So first problem is that I don't have that vise clamped down because I brought it in here for this purpose. I have. That's not big. That's not going to do it. This one will. Okay, hold on. We're almost there. Almost there. About halfway compressed. Almost there. Almost there. There we go. Okay. There we go. Had to rush through that. Sorry, I had to completely ignore you for a minute, but there we go. I saw I missed a super chat. I'm going back up to that. I'm sweating now. Chuck's RC Habit. Thank you, sir. Even Josh, did I miss the Westman reveal? Yes, we did it first thing. Partially because it's just hot in here, but it's also a little bit frustrating. Whew, there we go. Floater vice. Yeah, like not bringing the vise in here is a little bit. But if you've used a vise, this is a big vise. Like it's an old iron vise. Like I got it for $20. So, but super old, like 50s, 60s. But it's a beautiful vise. Works really well, and that's a lot of force to push on that thing. Like there's a lot of pressure put under on these parts to make them do what they're doing. So these things are strong for a reason. Like they cure under some wild force. I love this process. I'm going to overuse the hell out of it. I am opening the window. Hold on. Okay. But now we have one to open. This one I'm interested to see. This was the first time, honestly, I used a PLA mold. All this stuff just gets thrown away. That is single serve. Sorry. I don't know if you can hear that air conditioner. I'm sure you can. Oh, yes. Paint scraper time, Ben. Oh, I've got carbon and resin in here. I hear nothing but you. That's good. My noise canceling is working. It is really loud if you're in here. Seriously spicy. So I'm gonna split the two halves of the mold first. Is it spicy? Is Nicole on standby with CA glue? Where's we have the medical emergency staff on call. Josh, what infill are the molds? So I've been experimenting. Normally, they recommend using PLA, or sorry, PETG. And the videos, they highly recommend 75% infill. But what I've been doing is experimenting with more perimeters, going 5 perimeters. And then I tried as low as 25%. But with PLA, I've been going back up to like, I think those back here, the ones that I just did, I think those were like 60%. So 50 or 60. I don't remember. But this really should be the simplest part I've made yet. Top-down view? What do you guys think? Is that better or worse? Which way do you want to see this? Honestly, that line came out really well. This was done with the old mold release. So this one, still should work much better. All right. All right. Just breaking it loose as I go around. Blood cam. Okay. Oh, it's starting to separate a little. See it right there? It's moving. A little too much, huh? Lighten it up a little. Let's see. Why don't you make separator screws in the mold? Because with PLA and stuff like that, it's just going to push through the plastic. So it's not really worth it. Amount of time it would take, a little bit that it would save. This is single use stuff. Okay. So now we just have the final bit to separate. This is all just flashing. Make sure that it technically, I think that was a corner of it. It's okay. Okay. This is where that part where I said this should be easy starts to get less easy. All right. I'm just getting that edge flashing off. Just fling a corner of it. All right. Where is my wood block? Hold on. Okay. So we're just working along that. Now the AC's off. I can hear myself think. Things are about to change. I can feel it. Whoop. This is the section that goes right underneath of the tailgate area. There we go. Will this be the first one I've done on live with no blood? Moving. So the reason this one was a little bit difficult is because it has to, there's some end pieces here that have to slide straight out. Right? Oh, there we go. Ah, yes. All right. So these do not come out of the mold pretty. Most of that is release wax though. Even if I just take, maybe shoot the mold with some Pam cricket. I use a release wax. It has nothing to do with that. Like that release wax is like a, but it's just the nature. Part of it is that 3D printing is little layers, you know? And it's almost like a Velcro. Like you should have it printed so that it's releasing with those layers, but that's not always super feasible. So sometimes you're fighting that, and you're fighting all of that little surface area. It's just the way of the world. But even if I just take and wipe off, this is just buffing off that mold release wax. It starts to get into the carbon look pretty quickly. Like I said, that high build is really a high build. Yeah. So you can already start to see it doesn't look like it as much in camera, but in person, trust me, you see a lot more of the little carbon, the hue shift of the reflection of the different carbons, but they're different pieces of chopped toe, however you want to put it. Let's see, where did my X-Acto blade go? Let me do a little bit of cleanup here. Would resin work better for molds then? Oh, you mean like poured resin molds rather than 3D printed? I mean, possibly, but then you're still 3D printing for a resin mold of a thing and then like adding a whole nother step, which you're just like with all that time wasted, like just do it out of 3D printing and then, the amount of time that you take to do a different type of mold, you're going to waste rather than just get it done that way and move forward. Like time benefit, cost benefit, is just not, the cost benefit is just not there. I'm pretty confident in that. The simplicity of being able to 3D print and go right to just putting it together is, I think, just the way to go. So I'm going to trim this mold up a little, or the flashing of this up a little bit before we start getting into the cleanup even more. Okay. Will the purchaser of this truck get all the molds? Probably not. Most of these molds are just getting thrown away. You should see the size of the box of 3D printed parts I've made for this truck. It's probably 10 pounds of between molds, and there's some plaster in some of those molds. Now the dull X-Acto blade. Oh yeah, this is why my X-Acto blades are dull, because I'm cutting carbon fiber with them. And then I expect them to still be sharp to do X-Acto knife things. Okay. So you can see that step right there. That's just all flashing. So that part needs to come off. Okay. Looking good there. The corners, these pieces filled pretty well, which I'm happy with. Happy to see that, because the pockets on the side, like this portion of it, that was all just a little pocket, and it was not a large one, so there's a pretty good chance of it having a not setting in there well. Let's see if I can just do some scoring. Yes. I think that this could use just a little bit more cure, even though technically it was a little under 24 hours by the time I took it out, but not much under. It just feels a little bit soft. New blade. The month is not. I'm sure people who use X-Acto blades the way that they're supposed to are already just cringing. Okay. Little just flush cutting, trimming, so that we can then we'll clean that up with some sanding and filing. And that's going to be in great shape. Okay. Whoops. All right. There'll be a little bit of filing that needs to get done just to clean up those slots there. That's where the bumper comes through in the back. So $22,000 for 2 comp rigs, but 11 cents for a new blade. Listen, you gotta cut costs where you can. So the idea is that this is going to fit in right there. And then this should just push and press. Ah, it does. Look at that. Ah, it's going to line up. Ah, it lines up perfect. Like it's what do you call it? The textures are different right now, but you can see that like there's no gap. Everything just lines up really well. It's nice and flush. So this just needs to be wet sanded now. It works as designed. Man, it even just sets in there. I bet I could. It's a tight fit, not too tight, but tight. I like it. Okay. So we'll go to overhead. I've made a disaster of my bench. Do a little bit of cleanup. So all the hardware that's in that mold, it's covered with, it's got resin all over the threads and stuff like that. I don't really keep hardware like that. I just toss it and get new later. Just not worth the headache. But again, X-Acto blades. Let's not get silly. Okay, so we're gonna put our new fancy scale up with my other scales. Put my tape away. That is for the scale. We're gonna do a wee bit of cleanup before we continue. We didn't need the super glue yet. It's not over, but I don't think we needed it quick draw length. I'm worried about the resin in that mold. I feel like the thin mold release didn't make a good enough bond. I feel like I almost should have went through and used some filleting wax and sealed it. I don't know. We're gonna learn on that one. We'll see how it comes out tomorrow. If I can get it cleaned up well enough, I can reuse the molds. So If it's bad, we'll make it happen. I just hope that it's not. That hardware is still all good. So the fun part now is that I've got a bucket of water because I've got a wet sand. I've got 600 grit wet or dry paper. Now, before I use the 600 wet or dry, I think we should hit it with something a little heavier. Get just that initial mold release outside stuff off. So I have a box of abrasives, some 280, .320, and 400. That seems like a good collections. Okay. So I was using that block of aluminum. As a sanding block, but I've got those in the vise right now, so I'll have to use this aluminum. Oh, I know what these were. These were going to be a VP part at one point before I was at Vanquish. And there was 2 prototypes made, and then they were never actually produced. Any guesses? Before I was there, vehicle before. But we were getting rid of all the material because it was just on a pallet. Not a flat rail, not slash parts. Something Vatera, nope. I'm just going to take something that wouldn't be viable anymore, really. Still. Leaf spring chassis, nope, that'd still be viable. Technically. Not really, but technically. Let's see. Add a dash of lye with extra clean. Yeti parts, nope. Nope, not a TVP. Nothing nitro. Paintball stuff, nope, it was RC. Nope, not TVP. I said it was exo parts. Somebody got any 3D prints. I mean, there was a pretty general guess, exo part, and that is true. But it was a specific exo chassis pan. Exactly. Phoenix, you are correct. You get an assist point. There was a couple prototypes made, and they're actually out in the wild. I think Gene Boyd has one of them, and Michael Pham has the other. Or Gene Boyd had it. I think somebody else bought it from him. Right. So this is curved section now. Just getting a couple of layer lines that came through from the 3D print. Just getting it knocked down with the 280, and then we'll step up. So that's $1,000. No, this is like a $2 piece of aluminum. I mean, not $2, maybe a little bit more. It's precision plate, but still. Right. Looking pretty good. Like I said, this is still, I can tell this is still a little light on the cure. Needs a hair bit more. I fab my own X-Acto. So, plugged up that carbon a little bit as well. Another sign that it's a wee bit. Sanding is why I didn't go to auto body. Yeah, sanding does suck. Sanding licorice, not that bad. It's not like sand, like wet, like Bondo when someone doesn't put enough activator in it. It's just like, okay, looking pretty good there. We aren't gonna go all the way. We're gonna go to 320. Do the flat sand. Try and roll that edge so it gets it. Cure time or hard, time or hardener. It's hard to, like, it possibly could have been hardener. Like I said, this is why specifically I bought that new scale, is because that this part used such small amounts of resin and stuff like that, that I was having to measure everything out in 1 gram increments rather than, you know, 1/10 of a gram increments. And I feel like there's a total possibility that I didn't have enough hardener, or, you know, too much resin. Same thing, right? But all right, looking good. But that was why, like, when I was mixing this stuff last night, I was just like, I've got to get a more accurate scale for small parts. Matt's here. Carbon fiber. What's up, Matt? We've got so much done already. The Westmade Dash was unboxed and installed. Okay, looking appropriate. We do have to decide how we're going to handle the tailgate still. On small stuff, I usually double volume for accuracy. The problem is that I'm going for a certain mix of carbon, you know, so I need to, like, have the right amount of carbon. And then, you know, otherwise you're guessing at what half is. But for the resin side, I totally see what you're talking about. You know, but you're still, like, they say to use the resin in there and then squeeze the extra out. So I don't know. Still would have been doable. It would have just squeezed more out, but they also tell you don't hydrolock your mold during compression. Tailgate pressed aluminum, that is one of my thoughts. I haven't done that yet on this project. I've done some stamping, but not pressed aluminum specifically. Grizz Khalifa, new VS410 Pro or wheels for the new daily. I know what you mean. Like that's my problem is that I end up going RC stuff because I've been holding off on new wheels for my Gladiator while I keep doing builds. So my choice is always RC stuff. But okay, we're gonna call that grit done as well. That was the 320. This is 400. A little bit of hit with the 400. I'm gonna go with this. Can you mill the tailgate? I mean, I could, but yeah, I don't know. It's not my plan. Looking pretty good. Definitely a lot faster than trying to do this all with 600. Next time, print your body and hydro dip it in carbon. No. My whole goal for this project was like I want to do it without 3D printed body parts. Like that was my real goal. I want to not do just the 3D printed way. Not saying Matt's is bad. Of course, obviously. I'm just saying it wasn't the route that I wanted to go. I'm pretty sure that even I thought my goal of trying to get this done was lofty and stupid when I started this project. Even I did not think. Vacuum form carbon sheet. That's not how that works. You don't get to heat up carbon sheet to do that. Now, I can do a wet layup and vacuum bag it, which is different, but that is kind of the route that I'm thinking of for the hood. Still doing a chopped carbon method, so it still looks and has the forged carbon look, but doing a resin infusion through vacuum bagging method. I have all the stuff here basically. So I've got vacuum pumps, I've got the bags, I've got most of the thing. There's a few things that I need to order still. And I was doing a check on that right before this show started. Right, we got almost everything out. We're looking good. We can throw that piece away. Nothing wrong with expanding your skill sets if it works. As long as you've actually expanded, that is great. If you just fail a bunch, you're on the right path, but god damn it, it's frustrating. Okay. So let me show you our progress. So starting to look like Carbrone's Fiverr. You can start to see it there. Start to see the shine. This is a tedious process, but I do enjoy. I do enjoy it in a weird way. Let's adjust this camera slightly. So it doesn't. It's not so bad. Definitely feeling it now. Just order over $100 worth of food, including 5 random these days. Jesus. So we're really just trying to get this all evened out at this point. This should be a pretty quick sand. Wait till he gets down to the 10,000 bit. You know what? I don't think I own anything less than 600 or more than 600, which is just fine by me. I am not doing a 2,000 wet sand and a 6,000 and then the notebook paper. Let's see. Oh, wow, that's coming out quickly. Look at that. We're already basically there. This piece was too easy. Too easy. I can't tell if you guys, I don't know if like this just looks oddly dull to you guys, or like if you can see the carbon, reflection, and it's always difficult. I don't know what it looks like. Like, because I feel like what I can see, and then what I see on the stream are not the same, but still looks good. Got a good reflection though. Looks good. Next to got the other carbon. Get them aligned. Yeah. It's looking like the rear of the body now. There we go. That's going to work out just fine. There we go. Honestly, I think that is really all that I'm going to go as far as on that one. I don't need to, I'm not going to go crazy sand anymore. So what's left to mold? Just the hood and tailgate. Yes, that is correct. I've got to take apart the other mold that we did tonight, if that one worked. I have, reservations, I should say, about how that went. I feel like the resin was thin enough that it ran in places that I really wasn't happy about. Or so fast at least. But that's, that's the problem, is you got to wait 24 hours to find out. I've got to cut out that, the center of that tail light housing and get it cleaned up, and then make a 3D printed lens to go there, a clear lens. And I can't imagine all the little fibers hurting your hand for the next 2 months. Your car will be ready, but you won't. Honestly, this stuff it's not like when you're dealing with regular, I don't know. It's not like regular carbon fiber where you get those little splinters. Like this fluff that I have, the chopped carbon toe, it's not like even, it's not like fiberglass or any, I mean, it is obviously in some way, but it's like, I've dealt with that stuff, or cutting that stuff and all the little like flakes. It's awful. This stuff is is legitimately soft. It feels like feathers. So, okay. Now you say that and I'll like start feeling just all over, but right now I'm legitimately not having any issue with that. So, move that aside. Okay. All this carbon. Let's flip this. Actually, we're going back to that. That's class 2, class 1. So, what do we have here? All right. What can I cross anything off the list? Roll pan. Loaded the mold. I can take that thing off. So I have to mount the ESC, mount the winch controller, install the lights. Like these things are half done. I just don't want to cross them off the list yet. Wiring, like some of those, these are like right on the edge there. Battery mount, I still have a little bit of figuring to do. Paint the tunnel, stuff to do that. I've already done the rear inner wells. Interior, I want to print and flock new seats. I need to do that with the rear seats too. Mounting seats, including the rear mount dash. Boom. We can cross that one off the list. I need to machine my front brake weights down because I'm going to get this thing super narrow. Weld get wrench line mounting, still have to do all that. I haven't done the final hood mold, any of that. Tire foams are ordered, but not here. Winch anchor hook. I got to get my S beaner. Roof winch point, I have to get that done. Rear seat, designed and printed, not flocked. So there's that. Tailgate, tail lights, print air filter. I have not done any of those. Will it get done? It's a great question. It is a fantastic question, really. That we won't know the answer to for several more days. Several. But, you know, it's getting there. You know, the thing is that technically I don't need a tailgate. And technically, I don't even need a hood because I have a complete engine bay. By the rules, I wouldn't have to run this. What are you using for a driver? No driver. I don't like drivers. I think that they look silly. Like you got a toy man in there, which I'm not okay with. It is a weird line that I draw myself. And I refuse to apologize for it. Sorry. Get it? Get it? But look at that Westmade dash again. Look at that detail. So we got to figure out our, couple little things. Battery mount, steering wheel, steering column. I got to get all that done. Isn't it scale points to have a driver? It is. But I don't need them. I will have enough scale points without it. And you can only get so many scale points. And drivers are, besides looking funny, in my opinion, they're also weight. They're weight up high. I really don't have anything else at the, where the center of mass of a driver would be. Everything else I have is below that. So what is the best trans? A VFD transmission. Duh. Come on, man. Everyone needs a driver. Nope. No light bars. Nope. This is how the truck will look. This truck is basically completed, other than the fact that I want to do the hood. I want to do this. I need to paint the transmission tunnel and do some detail on the seats and things like that. But most of the truck stuff is completed, other than some details that you're not going to really see. It's all more about setup and wiring. So that's really the extra things that have to get done. Rob Montana, what's going on, sir? Still need to book nationals. Anyone else going to find an Airbnb, or that is sleeping on Josh's floor with Ben? That, or it's sleeping on Josh's floor with Ben. Ben, Nancy, and Rob, you're in that bedroom. Yes, we need to figure out what you're doing for sure. Nope, no roof rack. Where is your ESC gonna mount at in the class 1? So underneath of, right now I've got the seats double-sided taped in, but so we'll take those out. Underneath, we've got the interior, as you can see, and that interior panel hood fell off with one screw on each side. Oh yeah, fender flares are still not on there. So yes, fender flares are still those are still a major thing to be done. So because those are for my tire coverage. So and those I'm probably 3D printing at a TPU. So as this comes up, and then it goes over the dash, over that part of the dash, and comes out that way. So make sure the dash is still in there. Felt like it wasn't. Ah, there we go. But anyway, I took that out. The mounts for it are 3D printed PETG, and they screw on from the side here and from the front right there. So, and then one screw up from the bottom is what attaches it down. And underneath of all of that, I made a carbon fiber tray. See that tray right there? So that tray sits in this area. So right in here. So I got about 10 or 15 millimeters of clearance for all my electronics to sit underneath of the interior pan. Super easy. I can fit my ESC and my receiver right there. The receiver is just this little guy. 2106 GF from Futaba. And the ESC, I don't know if it's over there or what I did with it specifically, but it is a Holmes Hobbies BR Mini, which is very tiny. It's around. Can't tell you where exactly. To your left. Not that. That's a Mamba Micro X, or the X2. That's the new one. It just came in the other day. It needs to go in that box. That is a box of things that need to be put away. Those are things that I talked about on mail call that have to go in bins and boxes. I must have actually put it away somewhere. So, yep. So, these are parts to be installed in the class 1. So I've got 2 more sets of different types of tires and this little piece. So this is the Holmes Hobbies BR Mini. It's a tiny little thing. Will there be a BEC in there? No. My servo and my winch are both direct power, so they don't require a BEC to power it. This Holmes BR Mini has a small internal BEC that has enough power to run the receiver. So it's got everything that I need. And it's just, it has no thickness. And the only problem is that these are kind of a pain to mount because there's not like a good flat surface. So I made this little piece out of PETG, which has pads that raise up, and they give me the perfect spot to attach it to the BR Mini like that. And then I can attach this easily to that carbon plate. And that's all. Super, super easy. Is the 2106 waterproof? No. I don't really run anything waterproof. You could waterproof it if you want. It's just not something I ever worry about. If I ever have been in a situation where it was beneficial, I'd usually just put dielectric grease in there. But again, it's just not anything I usually worry about. But so the ESC takes no height, like super easy to mount. That'll go in there right next with the receiver, and that's it. There just is not a lot to it. The electronics package in this is pretty pared down. We got this is the Holmes SHV 500 LP, so it's a little bit shorter than a standard. The Holmes winch next to it. I still have to do some winch routing to get this so that the line does not touch the titanium grill, because I feel like it would tear it up pretty badly. But yeah, I mean, are you still doing the airbox servo cover? Yep, I need to, that was one of the things on the list, is 3D print the air filter cover, because I've got some red filament that I'm going to do that. And then I'll get that attached. But, the LS is attached in there. It's in there quite permanently. And that's just with the same tape as I was talking about with the other stuff. But that mesh looks good in there. Stance looks so good. It does. I really like the stance of this thing. It's real flat and level. Even with portals on it, it just keeps it pretty solid. Will that hood on the shelf behind you fit the body? I doubt it. That's a ripper hood. It wouldn't be perfect, so I would never use it. Like, no, not even close. Like, it doesn't fit right. It doesn't look right. I hate it. That's not gonna look like, I didn't go all that way to use a hood that is not like perfect shape. It's sort of shaped like a Jeep. Well, yeah, they both kind of are in their own way, but if it's not actually a perfect fit, like, I'm never, not an option in any way. So, while this one is an actual perfect fit. Are you going to add any light bars? No. No. I have headlights and it'll have taillights, but no light bars. Light bars just get in the way during competition anyway. Like, you don't want something extra hanging off up there. So the only thing that it will have is a roof mounted winch point, so that you can take the winch line, bring it back, and then wrap around the point. So like, it'll come back and then just around and over, so you can cantilever winch. So just go with that hood. No, it is 3D printed. If I absolutely had to, I would, but it is not the goal. So steering column might need to be removable in order to get that floor pan out. It's a possibility. So I probably just, like, maybe actually, but maybe not, because of how it goes in and down. The floor pan on the sides is off. It stops short, so probably not, but it's hard to say. So really want to make sure that dash gets a good bond. It goes with the dash. There will be hints of orange in it, ideally, but 3D printed is just I feel like it's a cop out for this. Like, the whole goal was not to use that. So I It's not what I want to do. I want to make sure that it's done the way that I wanted to get it done. That's, yeah, this feels not right. What will this rig point out at? I mean, 60 is the goal. Just hit the 60 and don't go any further. I don't necessarily, I'm not shooting for more. I'm only adding certain things to make sure that I get there. That's really it. So my hope is to just have 60. Maybe there'll be a couple of others, but that's else. But just in case or whatever. But yeah, I really just want to try and get it. What's your plan to attach the hood? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. My plan is to get the hood made first, because say I go full forged carbon fiber like I've been talking about. If I do that, then I may have these attachment points molded right into it. So then I can come up with something to use that to make the whatever method that I'm thinking of. I have the stock body post locations on the VS410 shock towers. And now, not because I want to use body posts, but I can have something that keys down into that as part of it to help locate. I can also I have all of these hardware locations around the top of the firewall and around the outside of the fenders, so that I can use to make other attachment points. Like I have enough options of areas to attach things that I'm not so concerned about making sure I have it. And I don't want to over design the body mounting until it's done, because I don't know what the part is, what true dimensions. Mini hinges? No, probably not. For just the strength, the mini hinges are just not usually that mini in our scale. So things like that, I don't want to depend on hinges. It's just not something that I'm willing to do. Magnets is a possibility. I hate magnets for body attachment, but for a hood alone, it might be okay. Like people use magnets for bodies and it's just like, it's okay. But like if you drive hard, magnets are just never. Hinges from RC planes, nope, still not gonna do it. They don't look right or the right size, or they're gonna be strong enough. Like magnets at this scale that would look appropriate are not gonna be what I want. So I've taken that off the table 100%. Did you just say you didn't want to over design something? Not yet, because I don't know what the finished part that I'm gonna have to attach it to is gonna look like yet. And I want to make sure that I have that final part in hand before I really go for it. So clear panel in the hood like a ZR1 Corvette. I mean, it's almost a realistic thought. I mean, I could absolutely mold it, right? So design an overly complicated hinge system to have it send cuts. I know. You could just use a pass-through pin. I mean, there's an infinite number of possibilities. I've thought about a ton of them. Like pins coming off the back that kind of drop into the firewall to lock it in there, and then just have something in the front, like a realistic, some sort of latch. But again, I'm a little worried about it holding well enough. I don't know. Like I said, until I have the finished part in hand, I'm not going to decide. That's the big thing. Because if I do if I do the vacuum bagging, if I do a layup with vacuum bagging or carbon or resin infusion with vacuum bagging, I'm going to have a much, much thinner hood. It'll be very light. You could take the TF3 approach and glue the damn thing shut. Yeah, there's an engine under there. You can't see it. In the words of Cletus McFarland, we don't need hoods where we're going. I know, and I'm a huge Cletus McFarland fan. Like I never miss a video on the day. Like, yeah. So, one thing that I've been avoiding, and it is time to do though, is I need to start finishing this part so that I can see what this rear is going to look like. No time like the present. So technically you only need to open the hood for tack. I mean, I can just say, please refer to episode 6 of season 2, and you will see clearly the 3D engine that I have in place. Have you thought about putting louvers on? I mean, no, not really. I don't want to. There's so many extra things that are possible to do, and I'm really trying not to. Okay, so there is the old tail section. When they say pop the hood, just say latch is broken in the words of Jack Stant. So this should sit right there. Oh, look at how much better that looks with a carbon tail. I really liked the orange, but true carbon tail is already looking much better. No denying that. Okay. Here's the real deal question, though. How do I drill this accurately with I need to make a drill. I need to design and 3D print a drill guide so that I get this in the right spot. I mean, I could technically fudge it, but okay, thinking this through. Worst case scenario, if I drill it wrong, I have to remold it. And this piece was my worst piece yet. So yes, an ichrometer is an option. At the same time, this part is good enough to use. Why didn't you make the rear light bucket all one piece like the orange set? Complexity of the mold, partially. The thickness issues through the center. Like I was worried about being able to release this whole part at once. Also, I am absolutely a novice at all of this stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm winging this. And a mold this size would have been, the mold for this piece alone was like 18 hours or so. I think total with all parts, it might have been 20 to 24 hours of print time for the molds for this piece to make this thing. So to make this, you're looking at least double. You're going to save some time by combining things, but it's going to be at least double just based on the size. So I'm 48 hours of print time, If it doesn't work, I'm screwed. If I get this one right, I can mirror the other side and print it, and I'm good. But if I screwed it up, at least I was only wasting half of the time, that type of thing. Clamp it in place and drill it just enough to dimple it to remove the final. The problem is I don't have anything to, I don't have a registration with this part. Like I don't have anything that like lines up on a solid edge and being like, this is how far inset it needs to be before drilling. So that's the real, that's the real problem. Wing it. God damn, this is bad. This is bad influence. Can you resin the parts together? Me, I possibly, maybe. It's just the problem is that if it's off, then my body lines are off. So, but I can always reprint this with a little bit of, I can adjust this piece if needed. Because this is just 3D printed. And I have to reprint this anyway because this is PLA. And I want everything that's structural or permanent to be PETG, specifically if it's structural and permanent because of heat and things like that. Okay. Yeah. And can't you print a jig for aligning them when you epoxy them? I didn't plan to epoxy. Well, I guess I was epoxying the roll pan in. Can't do it. I can't wing it. I got to design something and then print it so I can do it. I just can't. I can't bring myself to wing it and possibly lose the time. Sorry. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it the way that I would normally do it if I wasn't being peer pressured by internet bullies on my own live stream. Wait, doesn't it screw to the rear quarter? It does. So that freaking air conditioner. Hold, please. So this version did not have attachment points on the outside. When I molded this one, I was attempting to, but as you can see, it did not work because when it compressed, it pushed the fibers out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to clean off the inside of this part, and then I'm going to epoxy in a CNC'd piece of carbon sheet and then attach it. That it'll be CNC drilled. So then I can get it attached, I can put it in place and get everything to line up how I want it. So that's the plan. But how this will look approximately is, let's get this installed in there. It's just the perfect amount of press fit so that they go together. But whatever. This will sit in here like that and like that. Yes. Look at that. So you can see the clear seam right there. Probably be a little bit better when it's actually in there, but it wraps around the bumper mounts like it's supposed to. And once it's attached, the carbon sides will be properly in and attached, about like that. I'm pleased. It's, I mean, it's all not handmade, but still kind of handmade. You know, like I'm technically 3D printing molds and just shoving stuff in there and gluing it together in a vise for 24 hours, but it still feels somewhat handmade. So I have work to do. I have a lot of work to do still, but it's getting there. The twill side panels look better than I thought they would. Honestly, I think that they're, yeah. So if I was going to get forged sheet, it basically looks like large pieces, like large flakes of flat carbon. Not twill, but like big flake. It doesn't look like these all end up being like really small pieces. But when it's that flat and they do it, it gets laid down and put together. So, you know. So, and sanding, finishing the parts, plenty of elbow grease in there. Definitely a lot of elbow grease. Handmade, never going to see another one like it. That's true. That is true. Nobody, I think, would be dumb enough to attempt that. So, I am pleased. I was on Team Titanium side panels. It would have looked good, I think, but you know, make your own forge sheet, then cut the sides out. It was an option, but yeah, it just, again, making those was a whole nother thing. So that was where I started looking. I was like, okay, if I make my own just to the shape and then I can vacuum bag it rather than making the 3D printed molds for both sides. Who's sweating more, me or Matt? Me. I think Matt is, honestly, he's going to be pretty close to done by his next update, where I still have long lists of stuff to get done. I mean, I showed you my class 1 list. My class 2 list is still long. Let's see. So, build the dash. Technically, I have a dash in there, but it needs another revision. Designing the rear hinge is a big one for that. Additional rear cross brace, that's an easy one. Gear ratio, I need to do a gear ratio check and possibly add a little bit more overdrive. Titanium links, super easy one. 90mm springs, super easy one. Rear C3 axle shafts, not such an easy one. I'm technically still have a little bit of fabrication to do and machining at work, so that one has me slightly nervous to the wire. Front body mount, not super easy, but shouldn't be terrible. Reinforce the roof. I think that it's pretty. I'm going to use the thin titanium roof racks that I made for that, so that shouldn't be so bad. Inner fender should be pretty easy. Tire and wheel choices, not too bad. It's just assembling, blah, blah, blah. Machine some weights for the brake weights so I can keep the width nice and narrow. Switch to a 350 hub. Trim the body. I need to just, I'm going to clean up some edges from some of the stuff that I needed to beef up. And I had a couple of thin spots and made those thicker. Roof rack and reinforced body are kind of double dipping. And I was going to vinyl cut some floor mats for scale points, but I may not have to do that. Are those the wheels you're going with? I'm going to have, I'll have 3 sets of wheels and tires for each truck. So, uh, three different, 3 different sets of tires, different every, the whole thing. So I can try. Are doors required? There's no doors. There's no doors on here. There's no doors required. So that's, yeah, little stuff here and there. Nothing wild, but did you cover SCX24 J Concepts tires, or is that next week's update? Nope, did not cover them yet. Are the wheels on the C1 right now what you're going to run? Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, they'll be 1 of 3. Where's the driver? Absolutely will not have a driver. There will be no drivers in my trucks. That is a rule. Rear hinge and front mount for STL Sunday. I don't think so, because it is something that is going to be so finicky that I'm going to be back and forth, like it's just it's going to be a lot. I'd buy a VS410 Cup. Trust me, this will never be a VS410. Like, this is not turning into the next VS410 for sure, because it would make a terrible regular type truck. Terrible. There's no, the battery space is made for a teeny tiny little thing. Didn't see flares on your list. That's because that's C2. On the C1 list, I believe that it's there. Or is it not? Let's see. Maybe it's not on the C1 list. How are you going to mount the windshield? The windshield's already mounted. Oh, you mean on the C2? I don't know yet. Some sort of glue. Flares in a big box. If you do it on STL Sunday, we can help crowdsource solutions from you. Sometimes that is helpful on STL Sunday. Not often, though. Most of the time, it is trying to explain why it's not going to work. It's sometimes you need to be in front of a thing to understand what the better option would be. And a lot of times on STL Sunday, I do find myself getting a little frustrated, and I apologize when I can be a little bit bitchy when I get tired of trying to be like, no, that's not a good idea. So sometimes it sounds like someone is insulting the peanut gallery. Sometimes there's been some really good ideas. Honestly, in the comments, so this truck, the titanium idea came from the comments of the first video, maybe? Like, you should do that out of titanium. I was just like, that's a possibility. I've always wanted to weld titanium. And then someone else contacted me like, hey, I've got a bunch of titanium from my job. If you would like, I can send you some 3/16 grade 5. And I was just like, sure, let's do it. So it came out perfect. And then, I think a number, like maybe that, I can't remember if the engine was a suggestion or not. Blue cheese with wings or Joey Diaz. How about to take the blame off the shelf behind you and then magically hood is done. No, we talked about that. It's not the, if it's not a perfect fit, it's not a fit. And that is not a perfect fit. So no, it's absolutely not an option. What's the best body for a first time hard body build? Whatever you want to look at. Because in the end, it's, you know, all hard bodies are the same. You know, it's just a different shape. Everyone's got a Toyota. You can buy mounts if you just want to throw it on. So pick up a Mojave set. I think I suggested that you don't do any of this and not be stressed. I mean, the original plan was always for the forged carbon. Or I think technically, like I decided to do forged carbon just before the video. Because before that, I think I was going to do vacuum bagging, carbon layup type stuff. Like how the C2 body's done. But, you know, curious how close is that ripper head? We checked earlier, Ben. It's not that close. So you can see it's at least a half, I mean, probably closer to an inch wider. And the length is about 3/4 of an inch too long. It's just wrong in almost every way. So, um, so yeah, let's see. We got still a handful of things left to do, but I think we're good. We got enough done for tonight. We got a part finished. We got a part back in the mold, ready for tomorrow. What time did I put that in there? Around 7? It's like, that's the worst part is waiting 24 hours. But tomorrow I'll get drill guides designed for this. I'll get this cut out. Maybe I'll get the taillights designed. So let's stamp a hood like that right from... No. 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 But I've got some design work to do. Sounds like a nice time for a real good late night design session. Drill guides first. I can get those printed. I can probably design and print those drill guides in the next half hour. Maybe have them printed in another hour. Drill that, be able to get this onto here to start. And make some decisions from there. There's also enough that I could even attach it from here, but that'd be right. That's fine. We'll continue to do things a little bit better. That windshield frame is looking kind of thick, like it's wearing gut. No, I mean it's the side of a Jeep has a nice thick windshield frame, but the windshield itself is super thin. It's 40 thousandths Lexan. So, but yeah. All right, I've got stuff to keep doing. It's all you get for free. Subscribe to the OnlyFans for the after. That's all for tonight. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to keep working. And then there you go. That's it. So, good night. I'll see you guys, I don't know, maybe Sunday for something. Possibly, maybe. But who knows? We'll see how the rest of it goes. Have a good night. We'll see you guys next time. Hit the like button on your way out. Do it. Later.